their people, both past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians who are present. Leave of absence apologies. We have none of those at this time. We're all here. Very good. Thank you very much. A reminder, attendance of councillors by audio visual link. Council Code of Meeting Practice permits councillors to attend and participate in meetings of the council with the approval of the council or relevant committees. Clause 520 and 532 of the Code of Meeting Practice provides the parameters of eligibility and requirements for remote attendance. Just a note there that that is changed now since the new meeting code of practice is in place. Webcasting of council meeting. Attendees of this meeting are reminded that the meeting is being recorded and made publicly available on council's website, and persons attending the meeting should refrain from making any defamatory statements. We have no presentations scheduled for this meeting. I would just like confirmation of the minutes. There's a recommendation there that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 4th of December 2025, copy of which were previously circulated, are hereby confirmed as a true and correct of the proceedings of that meeting. Can I get a move and a seconder of those meetings? Minutes. Thank you, Les. Joanne. If there's no other comments on that, I'll take a vote that that's all in favour. Thank you. Against? Carried. Disclosure of declarations of interest. Council and senior staff are reminded of their obligation to declare their interest in any matters arising before them. Councillors may declare an interest at the commencement of the meeting or alternatively at any time during the meeting, should any issues progress or arise that would warrant their declaration. Councillors must state their reason in declaring any type of interest. Business without notice. There's the rules there on that. If we have any of that, that can come up when relevant. And we do not have any chairperson's minute. Okay, we'll move straight in. Reports from committees. Minutes of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 25th of September 2025. The recommendation there that Council receive and note the unconfirmed minutes of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 25th September 25. Get a mover and a seconder on that, please. Cameron and Matt, thank you. The minutes are there for anyone who's got any questions. We can address those if needed. If not, no questions. I'll take a vote that's all in favour of those accepting that recommendation. That's fine. Against? Carried. Another set of minutes from the Audit Risk Improvement Committee held on the 27th of November. The recommendation there that Council receive and note the unconfirmed minutes of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 27th of November. Move in a seconder, please. Thanks, Neil. Yeah. And Cameron. There's no discussions on that. I'll take a vote on that being accepted to those. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay. As I said, there was no correspondence coming in. We'll move into Corporate Service Managers quarterly budget review. There's a recommendation there that Council receive and adopt a quarterly budget review for the period ending 31st of December 2025. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Neil and Les. Any discussion on that? I think our income's gone up a little bit there due to the high demand for water. Any other questions? I'm happy to address.
But through the chair, I mentioned, you'll notice there's a number of suggested changes there. You don't normally see too many in the first quarter, but in the second quarter, as we're getting halfway through the year, we can see what projects are looking to not be done in the financial year or rearrange a few of those. So they're all there for your information. Here's some of the key ones there. Page 23, you'll see the Tadel meter replacement program. So we're just swapping that between urban and rural. If there's any other key ones, there are some minor ones there earlier on. Another big one is the Temora depot building. We're just pushing that out. It won't actually start this financial year, so it's the third from the bottom in that table for capital works. And the same too with the Temora office air conditioning. So by the time we get that out, the quotation tender that won't occur this financial.
Yeah, just on that table, I would have thought that the rules system will finalise to the urban system further out. And I thought that the table system might be more important on the rule. It's for the fires, big patterns, what use and stuff like that. But,
I want to defer that to Karen, but I do think that we've almost finished the rules. Yeah, so they're confirming that the rule are basically done. We did that earlier on. There are staff out there doing those. And a number of the staff doing those were on the capital teams too, hence why some of the capital programs are a little up.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll, all in favour of that recommendation? Aye. Against? Carried. Yeah. So we move on to 3.2, page 32, Council Cash Investment Report for November to December and January. There's a recommendation there that Council receive and note the Council Cash Investment Report for November, December and January. A mover and a seconder for that report. Graham. Yeah. Okay, so we have it there. Investment is depleting a little as we're spending all this money on capital investment. So going up, so we're in a fairly good financial position, I believe. Any other questions relating to that? Good to see those low interest rates numbers are all being transferred now to getting better interest. Well done.
Yeah, through the chair, I mentioned there's one minor issue there with Heartland Bank where we're sort of not conforming at the moment. We were when we invested, but we've depleted our investments from 30 million down to 27, so we're just outside that ratio. But it does expire. You recall it expires in a couple of months.
July 7th.
By the end of financial year.
Yeah, by the end of financial year, and then we'll revert back to being.
back then, bank, I've got that.
Yeah. And so they too.
We might have to take that one on notice.
Okay, if there's no further questions on that report and recommendation, I'll put it to the floor and take a vote. All in favour?
Yeah.
Against? Okay. Okay, we'll move across operations manager. There's no report this time up. She's got off lightly. So we'll move to page 43, production and services manager. Water production report. Recommendation there that council receive and note the water production report. Going to move in a second. That's Les. Cameron. And so there's our production report. As we can see, we're moving along quite nicely there. A couple of them are getting towards their maximum allocation. Bit of a spike through that hot weather, but I would just like to take this moment to congratulate our staff on the way they conducted themselves through that couple of weeks of extremely hot weather and managed to keep the system all up and running, and we were able to not have to put any water restrictions in. We did contact some people to see if they could reduce a little bit, but we've not have to employ water restrictions. So I think that reflects on the organisation and how it works. So congratulations to all those involved in it.
Chairman, just on page 52, there's a note there that Highland Bridge, 15 metre in place. Still not working. Anything particular going on there?
Through the chair, I'll just defer to Jeff.
Through Mr. Chair, the meter arrangement at the Highlands Bridge, it's a suction pipe system that comes out of the channel there. The arrangement of that system needs to be updated so that we can install a flow meter. So the old Helix meters, which are basically the old analog turnaround ones, the way that it was originally designed and that it's not meeting with the Water New South Wales data digital meters that have just been installed. Because obviously we're going off theirs because theirs have been calibrated. Whereas ours, the arrangement on that doesn't necessarily, it hasn't been installed to standard. So our next step is to do similar to what Water New South Wales has done. We'll install backflow meters. The delay on that is we have to install electrical systems and switchboards to put that data in. So we'll basically be using their information until we get that.
Now, through the chair, I might just go back to page 43 where we have our total extraction prices for Dugel. Second line in the report section. So we have 5,590 megalitres been titled there. Just been working with the departments at the moment. We anticipate we might have around 435 megs spare by end of year. So we'll be looking to sell that on the market if the department approves that. So as a temporary sale. And those funds then will be reserved either for capital or for our wet weather years when we don't generate the income we usually do.
Has that happened before?
This is the first time, and through the chair, it's in the past it's been required to have a completed IWCM. That is no longer the case, but we've gone through. They've got a checklist that you have to go through. You need to ensure that you do have sufficient water for your community, that you don't have to impose restrictions as a result. We've gone through that. It's just an interesting setup where we have to actually go ahead with the sale first before they approve it or run a stamp. So that's where we're at this stage. So we'll be looking to do that in the next week or two.
Quite important that it's a one-off sale because in the future we will require that allocation. Any other questions or discussion on that report? If not, I'll put it to the floor for a vote. All in favour of that recommendation? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, section 20.2, page 53, the Our Pump Station and Dosing Design and Construction Progress Report for February. There's a recommendation there that the council note the information on the progress of the Our project provided within the body of this report, include updates on budget timelines and general progress. Approve the requested budget adjustment of $220,000, excluding GST, detailed in financial impact statement within this report. Move on the seconder on that recommendation. That's Joanne and Cameron. Discussion. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate with what's happened out there. Our staff have taken on the completion of the job through some subcontractors. We've lost our primary contractor, and the works are progressing well and now coming into service. So I think it won't be long and this project will be behind us. Any other discussions on that?
Just a comment, Chairman, I think it's good to have those photos in there to
It is.
get an idea of what's happening out there.
Yeah. And having seen it, this makes a lot more sense.
And it's just the scale of it. Like even if you look at figure 5 and on page 57, the size of some of that pipe work.
Yeah.
And it's not 1 month, it's 3 months. I think Jeff's spent a couple of years out there now, haven't you, Jeff? Looking forward to the end of financial year.
aged 50 years.
Optimistic. Poor old bugger.
Is that out of interest a local company or?
I know, so the company that we're talking about is actually in the next section of the report. I think they're still New South Wales based, but not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a request there for an extra $220,000 towards completing the project, and that's listed on page 60. Just the additional budget required, 190, and then on the previous page, there's a mention about the additional costs, about 30,000 for on costs, bringing it to 220. So we've had, you know, even during our peak period, we've had to reallocate a number of Jeff's staff. Wouldn't usually be doing that sort of work to be working down there. They'd usually be focused on pump stations scattered throughout the system.
So I think it's all on track and we're putting it fully into service through the winter time.
All going well.
We're still on track for that, are we?
We are.
Okay, if there's no further discussion or questions, I'll put that to the floor. All in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 16, engineering manager, update on PP 008 developer charges policy. The recommendation there, the council approved the adoption of the updated P008 developer charges policy. I move and a seconder for that, please. Cameron and Rodney. Thank you. Discussion on that. There in front of us, that was basically we discussed that at the last meeting regarding getting some more people onto those systems. Amanda Muscatine and Yuli made. Now been put into the report, into the policy. Any other further discussions on that? It's a positive thing. Have we had any inquiries since that change or?
For you, Mr. Chair, yes, we have. We've got 2 inquiries for the Yulee Lane that we're dealing with at the moment.
Oh, wonderful. Good. Okay, no further discussion or comment. I'll take the vote to the floor. All in favour? Against? Carried. Good. 16.2 Capital Works Progress Report. Engineering Manager, again, recommendation the council receive and note the Capital Works Progress Report as of the 31st of January 2026. A mover and a seconder for that report recommendation. Neil and Cameron, thank you. Okay, there's our progress report. As you can see there, I think the money value stays the same, it's just changing where we spend it. So, any questions or comments on that report?
Yeah, just to see that the budget has been spent versus the time of the year, time of place.
Yeah, we're on track. Yeah.
See? Big budget.
It is, yeah.
There was one question through you, Mr. Chair, on page 79 towards the bottom. Duty on old well make safe. Probably not the best choice of words. It is safe. It's doing a permanent solution. So there's a mesh cage over the top. It's a well, Sammy, that would be what, 20 some metres deep. It's within the shed. It's got a, but it's just made it a permanent. And we weighed up, do you fill the well in with sand, gravel, or do you just put a concrete slab or something permanent over the top? We've gone for concrete slab.
Bollards and signage so people know that there's a well underneath.
So we want to make sure that 20 or 30 years down the track, someone gives clear signage to say there is a deep hole here.
That's part of the section years ago before.
Yeah. So through the chair, the house used to be down in that well.
Yeah.
So it's in the building, inland from the river. But nowadays, or for the last I don't know, Jeff, 50 years or so. The pumps have been,
In 1991.
there you go. But the pumps are now in a well right next to it.
No, the water used to cycle to the ground out of the river into that, or
So, yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair. It was basically, yeah, pump safety out there, had the old Chinaman inlet down into the river, sucked through that, discharged.
So dry well, the pump, it was a dry well, the pump sit in the well.
Okay.
So they don't have to suck, you can't suck 30 metres up, so.
Very good. If there's no further discussion, I'll put that to the floor. All in favour of that recommendation? Against, carried. Okay, page 84, General Manager, Council Resolution Update Report. Recommendation, the council receive and note the council resolution update report. Mover and a seconder to that recommendation. It's Matt and Cameron. Okay, I think it's all pretty self-explanatory there.
And through the chair, there's a number there that have completion dates and they've got off the next meeting. There is one that's lingered there for some time, the very first one that's signed to myself. We are working on through that one. You'll see we've just updated. This is to do with the floods that happened probably 3 years ago. For the daylight scheme where the pumps were inundated. It's just a complicated process. We share some of the infrastructure, we share some of the licenses with. Actually, no, I think they own most of it at the moment. And we're working with the council. So we'll be bringing a report to the next meeting to see if we can get approval from the board to see if we can work with them to take over that infrastructure. We are doing some works there to raise it at the moment. It's in our interest just to get the electricals out of the flood height that went through. So it was roughly, what, nearly a metre across the land there.
Yeah, it's around 1.2 total.
It may not happen for the next 30 years, but we want to make sure that, those pumps can operate. We had all sorts of issues back then. We were trucking water, even though there was a flood 15 kilometres wide. So I'm not sure if it happened in the past.
To that extent.
To that extent,
Yeah,
yes.
Valley Road dam area that the wall fell over basically. Yes, our Goldenfields right up beside that levee.
And in short, what are we doing there, Jeff? We're electrical higher.
Yeah, so we've done temporary arrangements with that. So the termination boxes for where the bores are down in the hole. The electrical leads, because there's a submersible pump and motor, they come up. The termination boxes up there between the pump and the bore for the connection. And basically we've already lifted those up to a more suitable height. That's a temporary arrangement. The future will be the entire switchboard and everything that went underwater last time. We'll have that above flood height as well, so that we can operate. If there is a flood, we can continue to operate remotely without issues.
And we'll go that old flood height plus a little bit.
Yes.
Yes.
Through the chair, what was interesting, those bores were completely underwater, but they're sealed. Yeah. So
The pumps are still operating, it's all the control.
Yeah.
That was the problem. Yeah.
And we got, during the flood, we got very close, it was within, what, 100, 200 mil, if that.
20 mil.
20
So one bore connection was underwater by about an inch, and the other one was above the water by an inch, and that was the only thing that got us back up. So temporary water cable through to we basically screwed on new parts to the switchboard onto the front face, DSDs and things like that. Yeah, got it up and running in our wetsuits.
Yeah.
Took a long boat ride up.
Yeah.
So most of the current board weren't with us at that time, but it was like 2 of the staff members used their own boats. And it took them hours to get through. And what I found most interesting was crossing the fences. So the water was higher than the fences, but they had to lift their motors, scoot over, and sometimes they'd float back. So it was rather interesting. And we were sort of left to ourselves. SES initially helped us with some political teams, but then we were left to fend, and they come up with some creative temporary solutions.
Yeah.
Have it worked very well.
One of those things we learn by what happens and adjust accordingly. 17 point, did I take a vote on that? Put that to the floor, all in favour of that report? Right. Against? Carried. Thank you. Page 89, 17.2, delivery program progress report, July to December. Recommendation of council receive and note the July to December delivery program progress report. Mover and seconder, Cameron and Graham. Thank you. We have the report there. Is there any questions, discussions? It's quite a comprehensive report.
Through the chair, I mentioned our traffic light setup. We've slightly changed that to water drop, so like our icon. So we had the colour scheme in the past for the traffic lights, and hopefully everyone's happy with that.
Well, makes good sense, yeah.
Through the chair, I think if you look across the board, we'd be tracking 50%. So there's a number of at 100% or 75, and then there's a few, depending on in the schedule where we start.
Halfway through the year, we've got most of the drops off.
Yeah.
There's no questions or comments on that. We'll put that to the floor for a vote. All in favour of that recommendation?
Right.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, 17.3, PP031, Code of Conduct Policy. Recommendation that council adopt the PP031 Code of Conduct Policy. Mover and a seconder on that. Now, please, thank you. Any discussion on that? Looking through it, I don't think there's any changes. Just the regular update.
So that's sorry. Just on that, there's yeah, obviously the amendments. There's 20. I think I've just done that.
No, that's the meeting code.
So this is the
Code of Conduct.
the code of meeting practice, which we've just updated. So this is the model code. I just checked it too just last week. So there's been the current model code sets. It's the most current model code in 2020.
But I think they are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the only reason it's brought to you is we have a schedule every 4 years. We want to make sure that we review all policies in that time frame, and it's just the schedule.
I thought like you, Graham, that something was happening, but I think it's under review. I don't know that it's been changed as far as I'm aware. That's our code of conduct. We all understand that, work by that. It's the same as what we have for our GP councils. So if there's no further questions on that or comments, I will put that to the floor. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, confidential reports. I'll get a move in a second that we move into a committee of a whole confidential. Joanne and Matt, thank you. End off.